The disappearance of Elisa Lam reeked of mystery. The young Canadian student was traveling the US when she vanished into thin air. Weeks later, her body was found in a water tank atop the Cecil Hotel she was staying at. But how did she end up there? Is there a definite, conclusive answer to this? Elisa Lam went missing on February 1st, 2013. The only real clue left behind was a surveillance camera footage from inside the hotel elevator. The footage was utterly bizarre. Elisa pushes a row of buttons. Then she peeks out, as if trying to catch somebody fooling with her, and proceeds to hide in the corner, only to peek out again. She jumps out. She moves weirdly. She disappears. The last to see her alive was the unblinking camera eye. It was strange, to say the least. The video looked like a scene straight out of a horror film. Was the truth behind it as bizarre as the footage made it out to be? During her travels, Elisa phoned home every day. She failed to do so on January 31st, and her alarmed parents called the Los Angeles police. When the hotel staff had found no trace of her either, the police put the search in gear. LAPD combed the hotel high and low. As many as 18 detectives were engaged. Police dogs were brought in. They checked nearly all the rooms, all the closets. No effort was spared, but it was all in vain. On February 13th, desperate and seeking the public's help, the police uploaded the elevator surveillance footage onto their website, and all hell broke loose. It went viral even before the term viral was applied to the internet. The eerie surveillance video had so much weird behavior captured, it looked like the king of all creepypasta. But the footage was very real. It wasn't staged, it wasn't acted out. The internet sleuths ran amok. They believed the video was tampered with to conceal vital pieces of evidence. It was suggested the hotel management did it, that the police was covering for them. The sleuths pointed to a weird jump cut as the elevator door was moving with an unnatural speed. It was noted that several portions of the video were slowed down, and the timer was obscured for an unknown reason. Some people pointed to what seemed like a foot of another person retreating. Another cause for concern was the hotel itself. Built in 1924, the 14-floor Cecil Hotel had 700 guest rooms and was very affordable, to the point that some guests lived there permanently. In truth, the hotel was a place of drugs, sex trade, and other criminal activity. On top of that, it is situated on the fringe of the notorious Skid Row in downtown LA. Indeed, at one point, Richard Ramirez, aka the Night Stalker, stayed there. The hotel's ex-manager, Amy Rice, claims to have dealt with 80 deaths on the hotel's premises within the short span of 10 years. About 2 weeks after Elisa Lam's disappearance, Mike and Sabina Baugh, a young couple from Britain, checked in to Cecil Hotel. We got in the cab, and the first thing we saw was an A4 piece of paper pinned to a lamppost with Elisa's picture saying, "Missing person." They were having a rough time at the hotel. The neighborhood was a far cry from their expectations, so was the hotel itself. Their room was dingy, their feet were almost sticking to the grimy carpet. Then, one night, the noise from the partying guests below got so bad they asked to be relocated. As soon as the couple settled into the new room, they faced another problem. The tap water was foul. It was discolored and had a yellowish tint. I can't describe the taste because I've never drunk anything terrible enough to compare it to. They complained to the management about their water quality. Other guests joined in, and finally, on the morning of February 19th, Santiago Lopez, a hotel maintenance worker, trudged to the roof. The main tank is where the water starts to circulate. I went to have a look. There's a ladder on the roof to get to the tanks. On top of the tank, there's a little hatch. And when I went to look, that's when I saw her. She floated up. She was white like a ghost. I was surprised. I was like, what? This is the one we're looking for. Elisa Lam was found floating face up and completely naked. To get her out, the police had to call firefighters.
Firefighters use their specialized tools to be able to cut the sides of the tank, remove the metal so they could as carefully remove the body for the coroner's office to conduct their investigation.
Her clothes and room key were found at the bottom of the tank. The police found no evidence of foul play. There was no trace of illegal drugs in Elisa's system. The toxicology test revealed she had an insignificant amount of alcohol and prescription drugs in her blood. Elisa Lam died of drowning. With her suffering from bipolar disorder, the death was ruled accidental. The public was not content with the explanation. Indeed, how could Elisa Lam put the 9-pound metal lid back on when she was struggling in the water below? After all, the police did report the lid was closed. And wasn't this correction in the autopsy report suspicious? The internet sleuths found out that Pablo Vergara, a black metal musician going by the name of Morbid, stayed at the same hotel. For many, this was enough to accuse him of murdering Elisa Lam. It didn't even matter that Vergara's stay was a year before Elisa Lam's disappearance, or that he wasn't even in the US at the time. He was showered with death threats. And how about a tinge of the supernatural? Many people saw uncanny similarities between Elisa's death and the 2002 Japanese horror movie Dark Water and its 2005 American remake. Based on a short story by Koji Suzuki, the movies are about a haunted apartment block, alarmed with the black water gushing from the tap and various supernatural phenomena. The heroine discovers a dead body in a water tank sitting atop the building. Probably the most outlandish theory was that Elisa Lam was in fact a bioweapon. Shortly after her disappearance, a tuberculosis outbreak occurred in Skid Row. Some speculated that Elisa's erratic behavior on the surveillance video was due to her not coping with the dangerous unknown chemicals in her system. But the most mind-boggling detail about it was that the test to detect TB was called the Lam-Elisa test. Nothing made any kind of sense. The case was a total mystery. But as with almost every supernatural mystery, the sheeted ghost evaporates as soon as a ray of light strikes it, piercing the ectoplasm, revealing the unsightly reality beneath. A daughter of immigrants from Hong Kong, Elisa was a student at the University of British Columbia. Her studies weren't going too well, as she was constantly battling 3 powerful enemies: ADHD, depression, and bipolar personality disorder. Elisa spent weeks secluded in her room, doing nothing, sleeping a lot, idling away online. This dark period could be followed by a few bright days before the cycle would repeat. Seeking to break from this vicious cycle, Elisa got professional help. She was prescribed to take the 5 pills every day. I wonder what will happen when I take these things long term. Will I ever not need them? Part of me is still in denial that I'm not sick, and this can be solved without pills. Elisa did her best to be brave and live her life just like everybody else. She hung out with friends, she studied, she read a lot, digging into the books of J.R. Rowling and Chuck Palahniuk. Still, she couldn't help but feel that something was amiss. "You're always haunted by the idea you're wasting your life," was her favorite Palahniuk quote, for a reason. Struggling for normalcy, Elisa was undertaking her medication, which only resulted in psychotic episodes.
Psychosis can describe a state of having a change in behavior, change in perception, maybe starting to, I think classically you hear about things like hallucinations, starting to hear things or see things that aren't there, that other people don't experience.
In Elisa's case, psychotic episodes were so bad that she had to hide under her bed to escape the things plaguing her mind. One time, she went missing for a few days. The other time, she had to be hospitalized altogether. She felt betrayed by both her friends and her family. Her feeling of uselessness was only growing. I feel I'm wasting my time compared to my fellow peers. I had a relapse at the start of the term and had to drop 2 of the 3 courses I was taking. Now I'm down to 1 course, and I've missed 3 weeks of class since my sleeping pattern is completely reversed. I'm a bit defeated, for I have far too much free time and no one to spend it with. Elisa realizes she needs a change in her life, and fast. A new perspective on things, a gulp of fresh air. She decides to visit the USA. She threw a bon voyage party, and it felt truly great for once. But I'm so very full of, I suppose the term would be, as Dumbledore says, love, because last night was evidence that I do have amazing, beautiful things in my life. And even though everyone is busy and going off doing great things, they do care about me. On January 23rd, Elisa gets on a plane to San Diego. Having arrived, she visits the San Diego Zoo, enjoys watching people at her hostel, and, as she put down in her Tumblr blog, every now and then I do something entirely impulsive and reckless, like tell a guy I just met I like him. On January 26th, she arrived in LA and checked into Cecil Hotel a day later. Her roommates weren't too happy with the newly arrived. Indeed, Elisa was behaving weirdly. She wrote strange notes and stuck them to the girls' beds. "Get out, go home," the note said. A few times, she locked the door and wouldn't open it, demanding a password. Finally, the girls had enough, and Elisa was transferred to a separate room. At one point, Elisa went down to the lobby, turned to the receptionist, flung up her hands, and said, "I'm crazy, but so is LA." One evening, she attended a live taping of the Conan O'Brien show in Burbank, but was escorted from the premises due to what was described as erratic behavior. It's rumored she'd written a letter for Conan and was too insistent in her attempts to pass it to the host. One of the last persons to speak to her was the manager of the last bookstore shop. Elisa was picking a book and asking other book lovers for recommendations.
It was the fact that she was asking so many questions and engaging with so many people that made her memorable to me.
The one thing that concerned Elisa was the weight of the books. She wanted to be able to bring the books back home with her, and she also talked about how she wanted to get something for her sister and her parents. It's only natural, as she had more traveling ahead of her. She even had her next stop planned. It would have been Santa Cruz. She was obviously happy to be able to talk to strangers freely and geek out with fellow bookworms.
Yeah, in the moment, it was just, a slightly odd duck, which I connected with as somebody who is often, I was the weird kid in school, so I was like, I get it. I'm like, yeah, you're in a new place. You want to connect with somebody. You're feeling alone. Like, yeah, you're asking questions. And, I did not have a negative experience of meeting her.
Elisa Lam was to check out from the hotel on the 1st of February, the very day she went missing. In September 2013, Lam's parents filed a wrongful death suit against Cecil Hotel. They accused the management of leaving the roof accessible, thus endangering the guests. They lost the case. Still, this trial did make a few crucial things evident to the public. The roof door had a warning sign and would trigger an alarm if opened. The only way to access the roof undetected was through a fire escape ladder. Apparently, Elisa Lam opened the window that led to the fire escape and used that route. It was also supported by how the police dogs lost her scent at the very window during the search. And most important fact of all was that the police had wrongfully reported the lid on the water tank to be closed upon the discovery of Elisa Lam's body. Santiago Lopez of the hotel maintenance staff was there to confirm just that. When he happened upon the body, the lid was open. The last missing puzzle piece fell into place, completing the picture. In the end, the public and the internet sleuths seemed to have overlooked the most vital clue: Elisa's mental condition. A supernatural tale is way more fun than a mental illness report, just as a vengeful ghost is more interesting than a lonely girl having a psychotic episode in an elevator. If I were to stop taking it, the world would be a headache. Would I become a psychotic and want to off myself? I doubt that very much. For other people, yes, there's a huge risk that will happen, but I know I wouldn't do anything rash like actually jump off a bridge. I'm too much of a coward. Elisa Lam was not a victim of the supernatural after all. Her undoing was much more mundane, and because of that, all the more frightening.